So after the 90 days when our chick is up, they take the reins away and actually have learned to form really great relationships and form really great friendships during this time. So there's a little thing that I just said. I just moved, I did not mention, we also do have ESL classes. So refugees are required to register for ESL classes when they get here within their first 90 days. But we offer it for free twice a week. And we also have our civics classes, which prepares students for the civics exam for citizenship. So we have those classes. And we also have cultural orientation. Now they have cultural orientation in the country that they're in, waiting to come to the US, but they also have a cultural orientation once they come here, so they kind of know how to navigate it. It's a lot of information to throw at them, but they have to come within. So for example, if they arrive on a Thursday, their first cultural orientation will be that following Tuesday. And sometimes we do have language capacity limitations, so we've had a lot of Arabic recently, since we've had enough in our Syrian population. So there are times, or if someone lives really far away, like I think our furthest family was in Lake Elsinore, right? Yeah. So that, yeah.
It's tough for staff members.
So driving to Lake Elsinore, case managers have to drive all the way out there, and they don't have to come into the office to do cultural orientation. They can do it in home orientation. And things are changing right now. I was mentioning how we're sort of family reunification based. We're kind of moving away from that, and that's not necessarily something that we can control considering the global crisis. We've been asked by LRS, we've been asked by Church World Service and EMM to expand and start expanding our clientele to free cases, which is a wonderful thing. But it's also very difficult when you're understaffed and underfunded. So we want to have that, but we just sometimes don't believe that we're able to give the best service that we can, because we just don't have the ability to do so. And that's, again, where our community support is so important, and we absolutely welcome that. So we are moving more to a US type base. And then, does anyone remember the crisis that also was happening in these last 10 years with children? Has anyone ever heard of the unaccompanied minors? Are you familiar? Okay. So, again, I could talk about this forever. So, in a nutshell, UACs, the unaccompanied minor children, were coming through the borders, right, making that a really dangerous trip as young as 5 years old. Many of them were making them multiple times. So many of them did not survive that trip, and those who do get sent back and then make that trip again. So the administration thought it would be a great idea to come up with another safer way for children to come here, and not to have them make that dangerous journey. Those children, though, the UACs that were crossing, those are the ones that are actually applying for asylum, which, remember what we said was asylum was when they actually come to a country seeking solace and safety and refuge, and then they go through a whole very traumatic process in order to be either denied or granted their asylum, which in itself is a very, very stressful pipeline to go through. So instead of them going through that, the administration thought, well, why don't we have them be considered refugees? So the Central American Minors Refugee Program came to be in 2014. 2015 spring, I was made head of that program at IRIS. So what has happened is that program right now is basically having any eligible step-parent, biological parent, or adoptive parent that has legal status in the United States who has children in 3 countries, El Salvador, Honduras, and Guatemala. And if they are under the age of 21, which has now been expanded but not implemented, under the age of 21 and unmarried, they can come through the refugee pipeline. So they go through the entire vetting process, they go through interviews, and so on. The biggest change for this program, unlike a regular refugee pipeline like with the UNHCR, is there has to be DNA testing. So the DNA testing has to be done both in the United States with the parent and with the biological child in the other country. It is an expedited process, especially since there is extreme violence in those 3 countries. We've had a lot of children missing. We've had a lot of children being sexually assaulted. We've had a lot of families that have been going to be murdered by the gangs that are in those three countries.
I think when I heard that 90% of the women who come up through Central America are raped.
Yes.
90% of the women that come in
90%.
through that way are raped.
That is true. That is true. And so with us, which is it can be a little frustrating because a lot of the vetting and the security clearances and all of those other things are happening outside the United States. I can only do what I can do. If I receive calls from parents who are telling me that their kids are missing or their child was just sexually assaulted or whatever. So the first thing I have to do is I have to then contact my national agency to expedite the case, give them the details of it. Henceforth, that goes to another agency, which goes to another agency, which goes to another agency, and I'm sitting there freaking out because my client's freaking out. And you feel helpless. So we're trying to do the best we can with that system. We've received our very first minor, which came, I think, October. I think it was May or June. And our case managers love this. They love it. The parents are incredibly grateful to be reunited with their children, who some have not seen for over 15 years, of when they left initially. The other thing that's great about this program is that it has expanded to other eligible statuses. For example, people with green cards can petition, yes, but also people with temporary protective status, where they received a long, long time ago, the government allowed for Haitians, Cubans, El Salvadorians to come here temporarily protected. They couldn't petition for their family members. Green card holders, U.S. citizens, they can petition for their family members. But TPS, they really don't have any real status. They're just here, they can work, they can live here, and they have to renew it every few years. But with a green card holder or a U.S. citizen, they have that opportunity to petition for their family members to come to the United States. So it was great when the administration said TPS are allowed and eligible to petition for their family. So that's why there's such a huge gap of people not being able to be with their kids for 15, 20 years. So it has been really nice to see that kind of family unification happen.
This phone is ringing.
So, okay. Oh, it's on. But unfortunately, we're talking about the definition of refugees, and we're talking about how you have to have a well-founded fear of persecution. Times have changed now, where your religion, your belief, your political opinion, things like that, you can define those things. You can sort of see those things, put them in a little box, and kind of corroborate those kinds of things. But violence is changing. The face of violence is changing, especially in Central America, because now it's gangs, it's violence that doesn't really have a particular definition. And so what we're finding is that many of our children are not getting refugee status. They're actually getting parole. Now, parole is also temporary access into the United States. So it's like, yes, you're not a refugee, but yes, you can go and reunite with your family. But once you get there, you have to get there by yourself, so you have to pay for everything yourself. And when you get there, you don't really have some of the social services that refugees receive. And then 3, you have to probably apply for asylum if you want to be able to stay there because your parent has probably temporary protected status and you cannot actually get yourself petitioned to stay in the United States. So here you might have an 11-year-old kid who has gone through a traumatic experience living in Honduras or Guatemala or El Salvador. They get here, they haven't seen their family, they might not even remember their family. So now we're dealing with a whole different can of worms where we have to deal with mental health and other issues that these children have gone through. And so it's been quite trying to be able to see and to advocate for these children because we want them to get refugee status because they'll be able to get the case management they deserve, the mental health they deserve, and all of that. However, when you're a 5-year-old child and you're sitting with a USCIS officer and you're trying to plead your case that you are being persecuted, I don't even know if they even have the idea of persecution even is. They just know that they're terrified all the time, every day. They don't get to go to school, they don't get to hang out with their friends because they are terrified of being killed. And so it has been, what we've been trying to do as well is to advocate for a lot of legal representation on behalf of these children. Because they don't know how to speak for themselves and they don't know how to advocate for themselves. Oh, 5 minutes. Okay.
So anyway, Lynn, stop. End of the scene, and now I know you probably have questions.
The people in the back had no idea what you said for like 15 minutes.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Okay, yes, hello.
Yeah, thank you for your information. That picture of the Syrian child, you know, that was on the national news was haunting. And when you put the 3 most, Syria, Somalia, and Afghanistan, my question is, and I'd like to know this from the experts, what percentage, or is there, I traveled a lot and I know it's overwhelming just being in another country and being under all this distress in another country. Are there a big amount of families that don't have access or have even know that this is an option for them? Like, I mean, is that the majority of people that are in these situations in the world? I imagine them just being powerless. And, or is it something that these pipelines that you're speaking of, are there people getting to these families in those countries?
Yeah.
There are. I mean, the refugee pipeline, as we mentioned, has been around for a long time. So there are advocates out there that are based in those countries, especially the ones that are very popular.